Welcome to Kikiriki Talks.
Bonjour.
Kamarjoba.
Kikiriki Talks. Let's kiki about Kikiriki.
Book.
Welcome to Kikiriki Talks. I'm Anna.
I'm Caroline.
And I'm Mislav.
Who is our guest today. Mislav is our mentor, just like Branchy, that you have already met. But today he's going to talk about youth exchanges.
Yes.
Yes. Recently we got to participate in a youth exchange, not officially, because you cannot be a European Solidarity Corps volunteer and also do some other kind of Erasmus project at the same time. But we were there as guests. We were on the event called Human Library, where we were presenting to be like books about European Solidarity Corps. And Mislav was officially one of the coordinators.
Close. I was a group leader.
Group leader.
Yeah,
Leader?
of the Croatian national team. Yeah.
Of Croatian national team. So first, I would love to know how you got into this whole youth work, because I know it was some kind of coincidence, random story.
Yeah. It was more of a kind of a snowballing effect. At one point, it was, I think, 2 years ago or something like that, I went to a project organized by CARPE, the job club, and I was like, sure, I need a refresher course on how to write my CVs and how to do job interviews and so on. And apparently people liked me, and so they offered me the opportunity to go to my first youth exchange. Now, I know that usually people say, youth exchanges are great, you get to travel a lot to different countries, meet different people, and that's all true. And so my first exchange was in Zagreb, so I traveled really, really far from Karlovac to experience this. But it was such a, what's the right word, intoxicating experience that I wanted to keep the train rolling, then writing on some projects and so on. And that eventually landed me on my second youth exchange opportunity, this time as a group leader, which was this summer, a month ago, something like that, in Dugaresa.
Also really far.
Also really far.
Solid 10 minutes by train from Karlovac.
Yeah, I like to say that people got it all wrong. That I don't need to travel to meet new people. It makes people come to me.
Yeah.
That has So I'm not maybe a staple experience for the youth exchange, but they were still fun and informative. Really something that I think every young person should experience in their lifetime, at least one. It's a specific experience. Our youth exchange was named EU is Coming, and it was about the opportunities that EU can give young people, as well as some inner workings of institution, how the European Union as a whole functions and our roles inside.
Can you just shortly tell what is a youth exchange for people who don't know what it is?
I think it's important to explain.
Sure. Very simply put, the youth exchange is a type of Erasmus Plus project that brings young people together in the same place in order for them to discuss and organize workshops on a certain subject. That would be like maybe the shortest, clearest definition that I had as such.
Yeah, and it works with national teams, right?
Yes, so every country sends a minimum of 4 plus group leader, so a minimum of 5 people to the youth exchange, and they come as a national team. They participate in the youth exchange as a national team and organize workshops by cooperating between themselves, researching a certain subject that has been given to them. They're sort of tasked before the youth exchange.
So it lasted for 1 week, that's the usual duration.
I think so. I think they last about a week, 5 work plus 2 travel. It depends on how a youth exchange is organized. The organizers could, for more complex subjects, could put the youth exchange to be even longer and have even more participants. There is a wide range of how you can organize it, but as I was told that after a certain number of people and after a certain number of days, organizing youth exchange gets very, very complicated.
Yeah, and this whole process is very intense. For 1 week, you are waking up early in the morning, doing all this official stuff, and then you are, of course, meeting up people and going out with them. So it's like an ongoing process of always doing something and not getting maybe any sleep at all.
Isn't it the closest to a summer camp?
Yeah.
It felt very summer camp-y.
Could be, yeah. You could describe it as a sort of a summer camp. It does require, I would say, a certain amount of flexibility because you have to work with your team. You have to try to maintain good relationships during the youth exchange in order for the youth exchange to be successful. Fortunately, it usually turns out that most people that go to youth exchanges and most people that you have the opportunity to meet during a youth exchange are like-minded people that you can get along with very well. That's a definite plus. It makes the whole process much easier.
Yeah, but sometimes when you put so many different people together, some things can go wrong. So you have to be ready for that too.
True.
Especially if you're a leader.
Yes, exactly. Like a kind of a job of a leader, simply put, would be to, get your participants back in one piece, make sure they don't get lost, or make sure they have good experience, and if anything bad happens, that they have someone to talk to and that they feel like they're supported during the whole youth exchange. Other than that, yes, wherever the human factor is involved, you have large amount of people in one place, anything can happen between them. You can organize the youth exchange perfectly in terms of timetables and subjects and workshops and everything. And again, you never know what's going to happen during a youth exchange, just because every person that comes there is their own person, their own personality. When those personalities come into contact, it can be very beautiful, it can sometimes get messy, but that's why organizational support is very, so that everyone leaves the youth exchange feeling good and well, and that they learn something in the process, that they covered the subject best as they can.
And who are other main actors for the youth exchange besides the group leader and participants, of course?
Sure. Except the participants and the group leaders, they are facilitators. They are kind of the group leaders of the whole exchange. They try to get teams to work together. They navigate them through some processes during the youth exchange and facilitate learning. And other than facilitators, you have coordinators. Their job is they deal more in coordinating the sending organizations of each country and make sure the paperwork and the numbers are in order, or also they make sure the timetable works, that the needs are met on an organizational level. If people have complaints, food or workshop durations or anything, really during a youth exchange, they step in and they coordinate with other organizations, be it people whose place you're renting maybe, or anyone else involved, so that the group leaders and facilitators don't have to be stretched in 10 different directions. So it really works when it works, and it works, it works like a well-oiled machine. Every part of it has a job that it does, and then you get a whole beautiful experience in the end.
But there is a established schedule, right, with workshops, and it's all about non-formal education.
Yep, so the timetable for workshops, although kind of flexible during the youth exchange, is set upon before the start of the whole youth exchange. So it's known in advance what team is doing their workshop at what time, and what are the times for meals, for what's the end of every day, what's the beginning of every day, and so on. This is also discussed on one event before the actual youth exchange, which is the APV, or the Advanced Planning Visit, where group leaders and one participant maybe from one national team, they all gather in one place for about a day or two and discuss through workshops what their homework will be, what kind of workshops they'll do on the youth exchange, and also they get to know each other, because as far as I can tell, when group leaders know each other before the youth exchange, even if it's a day or two, it really helps during the youth exchange. Because we're not coming there not knowing anybody. It's much easier to work with people from different countries, because I know one person there. We've met, we've socialized a little bit beforehand, and then on the day of the youth exchange, it's all much simpler. We're happy to see each other, hugging, dancing and everything, and then when the rest of the participants see this, okay, these seem like cool guys and gals, this should be fine.
Well, can you tell us more about from a participant perspective, because a lot of people are saying that youth exchanges change their lives or make them see world in a different way or help them choose what to do in the future, like profession-wise.
And yet it's hard to recruit participants. So
Yeah. Those are the 2 points that I wanted to address with this question, or with this answer. One is I feel like I know exactly why it's hard to recruit participants, because I felt it. Not knowing what the youth exchange is and how it works even now. For someone listening, it can feel, you can say non-formal education, sure, but it feels kind of formal. It feels very organized.
Exactly,
it is.
yeah.
It feels scary. I remember my first APV. I don't know. I don't even know what that stands for. Like, what are we gonna do here? Is this gonna be a 6-hour lecture on something? We'll be quizzed afterwards. What will happen?
And you were in the same country. Imagine for people who have to travel for something.
On top of all that. So very hard. I think this is part of the reason why people don't jump at the opportunity, even though there's a lot of positive feedback from people that went to youth exchanges. But that brings me to my second point, the life-changing experience of youth exchanges. And why I advise everyone to at least try it once, everyone should, is because by its definition, it forces people out of their comfort zones. It forces you to be flexible. It forces you to try and experience communicating with people in different ways. But it also has a very weird way of teaching you about yourself. Because when you're exposed to all these people and situations that otherwise you would probably never get into, you start to reflect on yourself and how you're acting, how good you are at some things, how bad you are at some things. And it's just maybe best described as sort of a forced introspection that happens. It takes a while after the youth exchange, feelings and everything simmers down. But after that, you realize how many things you've learned, and not just about the subject that you were exploring, but about yourself, about other people and everything else. And I think that's at the heart. What you said, the participants and people used to say that it changed their lives. It gave them a pointer in life on where to go. It just becomes a small world all on its own.
Yeah, some people get addicted, and we met like Rene, who had like
16 or
16 youth exchange experiences.
Have you met Simon, the Polish group leader?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how many he has, 20 or something.
Oh, it's easy. He gets 1 tattoo for each.
Yeah, 1 to 2 for each country or for each language or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I kind of get why people would get addicted to it. It makes sense.
Of course.
So
it's a high, especially if you feel good, if you make lifelong friendships and you still communicate with people after the youth exchange. I talked to some people, specifically Italians, and their group leader said to me, I'm not gonna stay put. This is it. I enjoyed this experience. It was awesome. And now I'm going, I don't know, in a month or 2, I'm going to a training course in Greece. I don't care. This is. I want to keep this high going.
Yeah.
It's exactly about that.
Because we were there as guests like for 2 days, just observing, not really participating in the actual activities, but we also really want to do the youth exchanges now. So I guess it says a lot. So people do youth exchanges.
Oh no, definitely.
And we will link the sources down below.
Of course.
So of course. Thank you, Mislav.
Thank you, Miki.
No problem, anytime.
For your amazing testimony.
Preach.
As I said, we will put all the sources down below, and you can always comment and ask.
Yeah, if you have any question about Erasmus+.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. As usual, you will have all the info and the social media in the description. And don't forget to share and like and subscribe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.